The FLDS church is just a bit. Yeah. You ever think about that?
Yeah. The funny LDS church.
No.
Fuck yeah! Dude, is that the first time that joke's ever been made? I've never heard that. That's incredible.
Hello, and welcome to the Bumpy Soup Podcast, the only podcast cool enough to buy alcohol for minors. I'm Alec. I'm here today with Emily.
Yoo-hoo.
Aqua Supreme.
I've never bought alcohol for minors.
Neither have I.
Shane.
For the
Wasn't cool
record.
enough.
What's up, what's up,
I fucking hate that joke so much. I'm crying.
Oh, no, we are not doing that.
And joining us from our television screen is Patrick.
Yeah, Pat Dick. I'm bringing it back. It's Pat Dick now.
Hey,
There it is. Yeah.
Sick, thank
according
God.
to the captions on the screen, it's Patek.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Patek, I'm bringing it back. It's Patek now.
Yeah.
Now that I can be casted on the living room TV for all of these people,
That's right.
they're just going to be commenting on the live captioning that they also
Maybe we
decided
should
to
turn
turn
them
on.
off.
No.
It's gonna be
So,
distracting.
yeah, so Shane's phone has beta testing AI captioning
Yeah.
on the FaceTime or whatever
Yeah,
it is with
FaceTime.
Patrick. Yeah.
Beta meaning that Andrew Tate does not approve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm looking for Sigma captions.
He only has alpha things, so like once it like leaves the alpha phase of development, he stops. So like once it's in the shittiest version, he'll play it, but afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you.
This was also based on a study of wolves that's just incorrect. They just
Yeah.
didn't do it correctly.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I think I'm more about the Sugma.
Oh,
Sugma grind set.
Oh, nice.
Sugma?
Yes.
Ligma.
Yeah.
What's Sugma, dog?
Yeah. No, man, Sugma for sure. That's the new thing. Sigma out, Sugma in.
All right.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Sugma 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sigma House 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how's everyone doing today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, drinking my Dr. Pepper, my swig.
I'm
Nice.
good, man. Good day.
Good.
Had a fun time in the snow. There's something about snow that, like, for whatever reason, brings out the Christmas in me. Right? Because it's
Right.
like, if we grew up with enough media where, like, it's like snowing and it's Christmas time. But it doesn't fucking snow in southern Utah.
Mhm.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Not on Christmas, at least.
No.
And so every time it snows in southern Utah, I can't help myself but just think, like, happy holidays. Happy, right? Like,
I've always thought it's really weird how like in Christmas movies and shit, there's always snow,
yeah.
but only like half the country at best gets snow
Mhm.
around
Yeah,
that time of
for
year.
sure.
But somehow that is still like the
It's
thing.
just potato flakes.
Is that
Yeah.
what? Like, is that like the Hollywood magic of it?
I think so, yeah.
I know they do
I-
it sometimes, yeah.
I've also
Yeah.
always thought about, like, is it weird for people, like, do people in Australia have different Christmas movies than we do? Because, like, they're just in July when it's snowing.
I'm not sure, but I just had an idea, which is that like a snow or a ski resort that like is running out of snow uses potato flakes, so it's a bunch of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And there's people skiing down.
Yeah, there's like the
It's
dudes.
like surfing.
It starts snowing and then it gets all wet and there's just mashed potatoes everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, like some fucking like shipper in Idaho is like, what the fuck is going
We
on?
need
Like,
so many potato flakes.
yeah, what the fuck?
you
man?
bring some butter and sour cream with you to the slopes.
Get some gravy.
It would be kind of a trip if it like
Yeah.
smelled good, right? Like garlic
Yeah.
mashed potatoes. You're like, what the fuck?
You're skiing on it.
Yeah.
What the
You like
fuck?
you like biff really hard and like slam your mouth. You're like,
That's pretty nice, actually.
Yeah. Would you? How many bites would you take of it?
I would eat that whole ass mountain, dude. I'd go through the rocks. Like,
Yeah,
You're just like crawling on the ground.
yeah. I mean,
Well, it's like how much does it cost to go skiing at a resort for a day, and it translate that money
All
to the
you can
mindset
eat
of
skiing.
unlimited mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And then it
How
doesn't
much
really seem
mashed
like such a
potatoes
bad
can you
idea.
buy for a one-day skiing pass? Compare those.
Right.
What's the better value?
yeah. I mean, right. It's like, okay, so you go to Chuckarama, spend 16
Yeah.
bucks, or
Oh, you
spend
know.
a little bit more.
You know
get
the
to
resorts
ski.
are going
And
to
you
kick
get a
up the
cool
prices,
physical
though.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. They probably would
Yeah.
raise it. They see all these motherfuckers eating it. Like, oh no, we goofed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, 2 bites. I'm doing the first one to test it. It tastes good. I'll do one more after that, and then it's gonna fucking gross me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's people skis on there.
Sure.
Skis on the, yeah.
Were you like looking around? You're kind of like,
If no one's watching, you get a third.
yeah.
The security guards come out. Hey.
2 bites only.
Spit it out. Yeah, coming out like a fucking dog. I grabs my chin and is like trying to pull it out.
Speaking of dogs eating things,
Oh my God. Yeah. Good transition.
Perfect. Yes.
so this morning started off great. I got my sunshine in my eyes. I didn't look at my phone for like 30 minutes when I
Wow.
woke up.
Emily wakes up and stares directly into the sun,
Usually,
Donald Trump when it's an eclipse.
staring down God.
You motherfucker.
I have just an image of Donald Trump burned into my retinas when I close my eyes. It's awful. And we make our way downstairs, and Alec, like from the other room, I hear him say, Did you put Daisy's treats right here?" And I come in, and they're the box of treats. It's like this huge container full of treats, or it was last night. It's open and by her bed and empty. Well, almost
A
empty.
culprit.
It's like a fourth of the way full. Alec is getting it for,
Ate all of that.
Show Patrick too.
yeah, show Patrick.
Patrick.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And she didn't throw up?
Yeah. So somehow she got
to
up
give her
on the
one now.
counter that I thought she couldn't access, carried it over to her bed, and then unscrewed the top and just ate her little heart out.
Material girl.
I don't know if she, like, is a dog okay if they eat that many treats?
Well, Daisy's eaten an entire chocolate bar before and been fine.
She has. Yeah.
Our girl can.
I've always
take it.
wondered what's different about treats from food, because it's just like a slightly different shaped, like crunchy brown morsel. You know, like what is different about it that makes them want it so much more?
I have an unfunny answer, and it is that it's the caloric value of it.
Do you have a funny answer?
No, I don't, and that's the worst part.
Maybe
man.
it's
really,
69 calories.
Just do it in a silly voice.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
That's continuity.
Fuck yeah. No, I think that's it though. I think it has just a higher caloric value. Like that's like, because I don't have dogs or dog treats, but I do have cats and cat treats, and that's like the only difference, right? Because I give her like Blue Buffalo food, which is salmon flavored, whatever, and then Cow also has salmon flavored treats.
These treats are also a great consistency. They're like soft, chewy ones.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a dog, I would love them. And there's also, we use them with training with her, so she also has like a positive feeling with them, I'm sure. And you know what we have done in the past? We've used that same kind of empty container as a puzzle toy for her.
Oh. She's like, God
She's
damn,
been
I'm so
figuring
fucking
this
smart.
puzzle out for months already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been
Dog
training.
Mensa.
Yeah, you've been training her.
But you're so smart.
I was just thinking about this because you mentioned your cat is named Cow.
Yeah.
So like, that's got to be like top 5 animal names I've ever
Thank
heard.
you.
What are best pet names you guys have had? Because like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've only had pets with like normal names, Sebastian, Bo, things.
Okay,
like that.
so when we first moved into this house, we had some neighbors come over. This is the only time we've had neighbors come over to our house. And they come over and they talk to us. They bring us like this planter with like a dying plant in it. And they tell us that they have a turtle named Mr. Turtle.
It's turtles all the way down.
Yeah, man, that's sick.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know Tyler had a cat named Gandalf. I thought that was really good.
That's good, yeah.
That's a good one, yeah.
Addie had an animal named Grandpa, I think it
Right,
was.
Yes,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
really good too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like it when dogs have names like Harold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like normal guy names.
Yep.
Well, like old
Right.
man names.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I love normal guy names.
Yeah.
Right? Like a dog named John. It's fucking
Come on,
so
John.
funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had really generic cat like animal names too, right? Like we had like a dog named Squirt and like a cat named
Aw.
Kiki and like just like normal stuff. But yeah, Cow was
Kiki's
like
a human name too.
well, sure, yeah, Kiki Palmer, right?
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking of.
Yeah. So
Delivery service.
Yep.
Yeah.
A good one is
Yeah.
also Carl. the
Yeah.
female
Yeah.
cat.
Yeah, I had a
Right,
girl
which is
cat
awesome.
named Carl.
Yeah, I love that for sure. Normal guy names though, right?
Yeah.
Makes it
Pour one
better that
out
it's
for
a girl
Carl.
too.
Yeah, for sure. The gender bender sort of
Yeah.
style.
What
of that.
about
Yeah.
what about like normal guys with animal names?
Oh my god, I have a story about this.
Ooh, yeah.
In high school,
Okay.
I hung out with like this group of friends, and like 3 of the dudes in that group had dog names.
Okay.
One of them
What do
was
you
named
mean?
Toby.
A dog name.
Another one was named Dakota.
Okay.
And I can't remember the third one.
Mr.
Max.
Turtle Turtle?
No, you asshole, you motherfucker.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
It
we.
wasn't Max,
I
but
don't know how we all forgot about that right up
Toby and
until that
Dakota.
moment.
It's-
Total like
Yeah.
black lab.
I
name.
imagine a husky with Dakota.
Yeah, me too,
Oh,
for sure.
okay.
Yeah. for
Alaskan
sure.
Malamute, if you will.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Yep, big old
Yeah.
dog. Yeah, not a dog for here.
There are there are girls named Cat, but there's no boys named Dog.
What the
Okay.
fuck is up with
Yeah.
that?
Dog the bounty hunter.
Okay, and this is what they always say. His name is Dwayne. His name is Dwayne. Or if I just say, "What's up, dog?" That doesn't mean that your name is Dog. Your name is
Yeah.
Shane.
Dwayne
Name's
the dog
Dwayne.
bounty hunter.
Dwayne the dog
Oh my
bounty
God.
hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, the dogs in quotes too. Right? Yeah, of course.
Dog.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. I guess that's a good point.
I wrote a script for Good Show because I tweeted that one time, and Patrick responded with "Dog the Bounty Hunter," and I said the same thing, and then I wrote that into an episode, and it's incredible that happened in real life twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
Well,
that's
it's just because that is like the only example that is like half legitimate. So you're bound to get it every
Yeah.
time.
Your
Yeah.
bounty hunter to get it.
yeah, of course. Yeah. Well,
Shut the fuck up. Max.
I think that
I don't want to hear another fucking word.
This is a great podcast to watch or listen to if you like to be annoyed.
yeah.
We're watching The Office later too,
Yeah,
so
so it's gonna
keeping on
be
that
fucking-
track.
So I think that the thing with cat and people being named cat is that it's short for something, right? There's no way to elongate the name
Dogathan.
dog, right?
Dogathan.
Dogathan.
Dog
Bartholomew.
Yeah.
There's guys named Doug.
That's as close as you're gonna
Yeah.
fucking get to dog,
Yeah.
unless it's
Dog
dog.
the dog.
Yeah.
Speaking of animals with normal guy names,
Yeah.
Patrick has a cat named Bandit, who I hear is doing well.
Yeah, he's doing good. He turned around at like the last possible minute. It was
Nice.
crazy. He really put me through the ringer.
Oh, we love.
I was taking him to the vet. We were having to put like IVs in him every day to make sure he's like getting hydrated, and we were having to like force feed him this like special food.
Oh man.
But and the vets were like, okay, you should give it until this day, and then if he isn't showing like pretty significant improvement, then you should really just call it. That's it.
Okay.
And like on that day, when I took him back to the vet to be reevaluated, he started like eating and drinking on his own.
Good
And
boy.
just like at like the last possible second, he
God.
turned it around.
He's not.
So
He's not diabetic, is he?
no, he had some liver issues.
Okay.
Ironically, because my mom also has liver issues.
yeah.
But yeah, it was weird. I think the vet said that it, and what our theory is,
yeah.
because for some reason all of our cats just quit eating the food at like the same time because we like moved where their food bowls were. We like rearranged the whole living room.
Right. Okay.
And so they all just kind of quit eating it as much. And so our theory, what the vet said, is that if cats just lose a bunch of weight really rapidly, then all of the weight like goes to their liver and it causes like a fatty liver disease.
Oh.
So I think he straight up just kind of made himself really sick by just not eating and losing a bunch of weight too quickly.
protesting.
Poor little fella.
Yeah.
Have you considered that he might have been fucking with you?
This guy.
Oh, he was.
Did you ever think that maybe it was just a bit?
Just joking.
I'm joking.
I've just been the most tired I've ever been in my entire life.
Well, the reason that I bring that up is because Patrick's cat named Bandit, I call him Stuart,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
a nice regular guy name.
Yeah, that is a regular guy name.
Wait, so also kind of related to later on, is that related to the Bandit the Office cat?
No, it's he was named that when I got him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that wasn't a
I
reference
feel
to
like
The Office.
no. I mean, I guess it kind of works out. I never really considered changing it. I don't particularly like the name. I probably wouldn't have named him that. And And I don't think it really matters with cats, but I've heard with dogs, like if dogs already have a name, you shouldn't change it because like they know their name and shit. So I wasn't gonna change his name because he was already like 5. But it kind of suits him, just like the way the colors are on his face. It kind of looks like he's wearing a mask, and that's why
Does he
was
steal
named
things?
Bandit to begin with. What?
Does he steal things?
My heart.
Beat me to it. Beat me to it.
He does steal food out of the other cat's bowls. He's a little
Nice.
fatty.
Nice. What would you rename him?
I don't know, man. I really like
Stuart,
animals with like food names,
Stuart?
like pot roast.
Oh, that's
Oh.
great.
Yeah, that would be a good name
Yeah.
for him too, dude.
Yeah. Those are definitely my favorite kind of pet names.
Yeah.
That's good.
Another one that's good, Tango, is a really good cat name, I think.
Oh yeah, Tango's
Yeah.
a great cat name, and he was also named that when Autumn got him from the shelter.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
a good name.
That's great.
I just remembered we have another cat named Goose also.
You
that's
just like
great.
picking out different animals.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys just really want to live on a farm, but you just, can't afford it? So until then,
Yeah.
you're saving up with different animals.
I think that it was like a subconscious thing at first, and now it's like a very conscious thing. That it's like if we cannot be around the animals we want, we would like have to manifest it some way,
You'll
right?
Next thing you
you'll
get-
be homesteading soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, dude, 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
For your house?
Uh-huh.
Sick.
yeah,
Nice.
man.
Shane
Yeah,
and his partner have been building a house.
Yeah. for like a
Whew.
fucking 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been mostly cool, I think.
Yeah.
I want to say nightmare, but that's not entirely true because it's to the point where it's actually fucking sick now. So
Yeah.
Right when
Yeah,
you're
it's
getting
exciting.
excited is when you can talk shit on it. It's like, I don't want to anymore.
Uh-huh, yeah, exactly, for sure. So yeah, man.
Exciting stuff.
I've been going to the gym,
Mm.
and
Which gym?
well,
Is that it?
no? I've been going to the gym.
Thanks, Shane. That was really helpful.
And so the cool thing about the gym that I go to is that it has the worst fucking name in the whole world because I can't remember it. It's like it's Performance Fitness P/F 24/7
Yeah.
or some variation of those letters, numbers, and those words.
It just looks like a marketing, like a billboard, and it's their name.
It's like
yeah.
if Amazon was selling a gym membership.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's so fucking crazy. Anyway, the gym's fine. I'm not gonna shout them out. It's okay. The prices are okay. They got enough shit.
You want us to bleep out the name when you just said it?
No, I think it's part of the joke. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've been doing that, and it's kicking my ass, which is cool. It's the point, right? I'm working out, and I'm having a good time. And the thing that is always so crazy to me every time I go is that nobody has any fucking drip. It's like jarring.
Well, see, you're not going to Summit. That's the one that all the drippy lifters go to.
And fucking cops.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
The drippiest of the lifters,
right,
of course. Yeah.
apparently,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like, not that you need to go and look good, right? But you don't need to go and look bad.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
And I think that like it could be it could be like a choice, right? Like if you're going in sweats and a big fucking jacket or a big shirt and like your hair's messy and you're just like going to sweat, like that makes sense, right? But it's like these attractive, handsome, beautiful people who don't know how to fucking dress their body. It's like purely to show off muscles only.
You're just describing Utah County.
Well, I guess so, right? Yeah. And so what I've been thinking about maybe is on the side offering like lessons or coaching to look just like a little bit nicer, a little bit better.
Man, do that.
Yeah.
You
You'd
go
be
to the
great at
gym and you
that.
see someone, you're like, oh, this must be a personal trainer. He's like, yo, let me teach you how to dress at the gym.
You got like a little booth set up out front.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's like
yeah.
written
Put
in
your
crayons,
little
like 5
your little
cents.
posters up.
Yeah. But like
On
a
the
before and
bulletin
after.
board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little style makeover.
I think it'd be fun.
I like it.
I could do my own little like fake mini series.
Start an LLC.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll run it through Bumpy Soup.
Yeah.
What not to wear at the gym.
No, you'd be a great style coach, Patrick, or not Patrick, Shane.
Bumpy suits.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh
Bumpy
my
suits.
god.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so that's what I've been thinking about a lot. Going to the gym more and just like people could look better or they could look bad on purpose, but it's when you look bad on accident, it bumps me out.
Yeah.
Especially when you're
It
like,
bumps me out.
it bumps me out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Classic.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have 2 things that happened this week that I want to talk about. Firstly,
Wonderful. Tell one half of each.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Do you guys know what the rink is?
Yes.
Like the roller rink.
The roller rink.
Okay,
Okay,
yes.
so I don't know how many roller rinks you guys have been to in your life. I've been to
One.
the two, this one in town.
No.
Okay.
The
well,
Vail roller rink.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
baller.
there's up north, up in Salt Lake, and there's one in Utah County. There's a classic skating, is what it's called, right?
Okay.
And it's just a circle, and you go around, and then they have
Shout
other
out
cool
to classic
things.
skating.
Yeah, cool childhood stuff, awesome. But like you go there, and they'll rent you out pads and stuff like that, and you go around, and everyone's going. So for my girlfriend's nephew or cousin's birthday, we went to the rink with her. So the rink does not rent out pads or helmets or anything. They rent out rollerblades and roller skates.
Yeah.
You're
and
on
little
your own.
wheelers. Yeah, and okay, so that also, and this is, I don't want to be like, oh, kids these days or whatever. I don't know if it's just children in southern Utah versus northern Utah, or if it's kids these days. I have never seen that many people fall down at a roller rink. It's straight up, every time you look, there'd be like 3 of them on the ground, and they don't have pads on, so they're getting gnarly, like elbows just like
Builds
I didn't see any
character.
like broken things, but there was a couple times that, okay, this was the best.
Yeah.
So I wasn't watching this, but Maddie was. So there's this song "Flowers" by Miley Cyrus. Okay,
course.
Yeah.
and there's this chorus part where she's singing. So there's this kid who's rolling around the roller rink singing to it, and he falls hard, and he hurts himself. Instead of going "ow," he just sings the lyrics to the song really, really loud.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, the rink is like, I tweeted, but like the rink is a sick place to hang out if you like to watch kids get injured. That's like a place to go. It is gnarly. The other thing I want to talk about is, so yeah, they mentioned it before. I've been running this D&D campaign.
Yeah.
And this is like something I am like newly passionate about. I have not like experienced, so this, I've like did acting for a long time as a kid, and there's like parts of it that I don't necessarily like, which is like it's about you, being a character, whereas other forms of art are about the art, not necessarily about you so much.
Okay, yeah.
But in doing D&D, you're able to like assume a character, but it doesn't have lines that are set. So it's about the character you're creating. It's not about your portrayal of the character. And it's fun and it's cool. And I've always liked coming up with little guys in my head that have cool powers or whatever.
Yeah.
And now I have a reason to do it. But
You have a whole cast of little guys running under.
And I get, this guy casts fire and this guy is a secret guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's like cool. It's like, I don't know. It's a whole different type of thing from like, again, compared to storytelling of like making a show and things like that and narrative stuff.
Yeah.
Narrative stuff, but it's improv. But like that's what it is. It's improv, but you're
immersive.
completely consumed in the character and there are no lines and there's not like a point other than just to make the coolest thing happen. Anyways, it's awesome.
It's helpful when you have a good DM and you're doing excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And yeah, and it takes you a lot of time to pull that together. So
D&D
we've
is
been having
like
fun.
the nerdiest thing you can do. You're sitting there reading books and then just like taking stat numbers and putting it there. I feel like such a dork, but it's cool. It's so much fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can be a dork and have fun,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Dorks just
No
want to have
dorks
fun.
can have fun anymore.
yeah. I think it's the most important part. It'd be insane if you were a dork and having a bad time.
Yeah. If you're being dorky and you're not even having fun about it.
Yeah.
Give it up, dude.
Sitting there doing all the D&D stuff. This is so boring.
Yeah, it's just like this is making me anxious.
Yeah.
I'm getting really sweaty. My tummy hurts.
Sorry. I just scared Daisy.
So I was thinking about the rink, right? And the lack of safety. And I am curious then, like, what the fuck does their liability waiver look like? Their copywriter has to be like fucking insane
I don't
to get
even
away
know
with
how
that,
I
right?
don't know how they did it. I don't know how it's legal. It doesn't
Yeah.
even make sense how they couldn't just have have the ability for people to rent pads,
Yeah.
Emily had to sign a waiver to buy a vape today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wait, was it at Cloud9?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know what's happening is that there's a couple things. People are using like crazy like high voltage like 12-watt chargers and fucking blowing them up, right? The other thing is that people are drinking vape juice. Like
Tide
not
Pods weren't enough, they
No.
said.
Yeah.
They
It
turned
It gets you
up.
stounder.
Like
Yeah, man.
drinking it on
Yeah.
purpose or
Yes.
just like
no.
what the
There's
fuck?
I talk because I'm friends with all those people now because I go in all
Oh,
the time.
boy.
I'm a regular, right? And so I know all of them relatively well. And one of the guys was like, I was asking him, I'm happy to sign a waiver, whatever. I'm not crazy. I'm not reckless. Like I use the battery charger that they give us, whatever. Right? I want to be safe, even if it takes forever, whatever. And he's like, yeah, man. It really like came to a head when the owner was there helping people out on a busy day, and a guy asked for a juice in the 24 salt, which is like the most nicotine heavy juice you can possibly like legally get in the state of Utah, right? And the guy is like, this is the flavor I want, the Nick salt, whatever, cool. Or he goes back, makes it, comes back to the counter, rings him up, and the guy takes the bottle, pops off the lid into his mouth, fucking squirts it into his mouth.
No.
And he's like, yep, tastes good. And then like walked out of the fucking store. And like that, I think was like the tipping point of like, we have to fucking either really talk to people or we have to get like some like legally
Do not
involved.
drink this.
Yeah.
I've spent the last couple years just like every now and again it's popped into my head like, what's the vape equivalent of smoking like Camel filters, like without any filters on them, right? Like ripping the filter off your cigarette and just smoking that.
I think
that's
we just found it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just straight up drinking. Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
Tide Pods walked so Cloud9 could run.
That's a Cloud9 custom like
Vapes-
house juice could run.
Vapes
Yeah.
are they can be dangerous.
Yeah.
I had a little vape malfunction. I had one that I brought onto the plane
Oh, no.
on the way back from New York, and
Did it crack?
so it didn't crack.
Okay.
It was. I think there was something with the altitude,
Yes,
maybe
for
that
sure.
messed with it. The one in my suitcase was fine. That was checked luggage, but this one, I get off the plane, go to the bathroom, pull it out, and it is seeping juice.
Yeah.
The bottom where you like have the blue light and like the little charging thing, it's like going bzz, 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 and like flashing blue when it's going bzz, bzz. I'm like, fuck. And then I just like throw it in the little tampon
And then it
garbage can.
explodes. Yeah.
I got out of there quick.
Yeah. You could use it for like a magic trick, like throw it down and it like disappear.
This vapor just like
Everyone gets
bathroom.
really fucking Nick sick all of a sudden.
When we were on our way back from Boston, Maddie dropped her vape on the airplane and it like went rolling. Yeah. So after everyone leaves
That's
the
my
plane,
worst nightmare.
except for me, Maddie, and Maddie's mom, who is Mormon,
Yeah.
who doesn't know that we have vapes, right? And
Yeah.
so anyways, we were like trying to look for it. And so the flight attendants are helping us. They're like, what is it? And we're like, it's a little
Like USB.
green. Yeah, it's a little green thing. Like trying to not give it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, eventually your mom left and we're like, it's a vape. They're like, oh, okay. And we found it. We're like, yeah.
It's a little green thing.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
cylinder.
so fucking funny.
Yeah. You know, I lost my vape one time, and me and Meg were looking for it, and Joy heard us trying to find it. So she's like, "Oh, what are you guys looking for?" And it's like, she doesn't know that we vape either. And so I was like, "Oh, it's like a USB thing. It's like a storage device for my computer and shit." Because I have so many fucking things for my computer or cameras and whatever all the time. And so that was like my only out was that it's like a storage thing, and I need it for some work.
So yeah, so well, so the good thing is she wasn't helping you find it too, right?
Right,
She finds
yeah.
a USB port. What's this? Yeah.
She did fucking pull an old like Juul pod out of the washing machine one time. And she's like, "Oh,
USBs have
she's like, is
changed a
this
lot.
yours?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is. Perfect. I've been looking for this. Thank you." and fucking, just
She
like,
she
gotta
finds
play it off really
stuff
sly.
and thinks it's like paraphernalia for hard drugs,
Right.
maybe.
What if you plug your vape into your computer and then it's like gets an addiction? It like stops working unless like you plug
it gets
vape
like
in every
way
day.
finicky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like really just like jittery. The screen's like fucking
I see you got some tarot cards right there.
Yeah. So in the hope to kind of get into more woo woo shit, I thought it'd be a lot of fun. So in the spirit of woo woo, I think that you are the perfect candidate for it.
Ooh.
If that's cool with you.
Yeah. What do you want? How do you want to do it?
So we'll do a couple I'll shuffle the way that I like to shuffle. And then I'll give it to you. You'll pick a card if that's cool.
Okay.
Do you want to sit over here? I don't know if there's. Okay.
Yeah, this is fine.
Okay, I'm gonna.
talk because it's gonna be essentially silent unless I shuffle this next to the mic.
Hey, bada swing, bada hey. Shane wanted me to go to auctioneering school just for talking about soccer.
Patrick, could you say the Pledge of Allegiance in Jason Statham's voice?
I don't know how Jason Statham. He has like a really like Cockney accent, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance. that sounds Southern.
Keep going.
To the flag. It just keeps coming out. It just keeps coming out really, really Southern. Fuck. Fuck. How does he talk? I don't know. I don't watch his fucking movies. He really seems like he's up there with Bruce Willis of like the kind of guy where like you find his DVDs like on the ground outside Burger King or something.
That was my celebrity crush for a while, was Jason Statham. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you saying that
Really?
He was a bad boy.
you were attracted to a bald man? Oh, thank God Max is gone.
He's booing in the other room.
All right, so I'm gonna have you blow on the cards, set an intention, and you go and shuffle them up, and then you'll kind of cut them back and forth until one pops out.
Okay.
So just a reminder for anyone, if you'd like to do Shane to do some of this woo-woo shit with you, perhaps a dream, that's what we're looking for.
Yes.
Comment, DM any of the Bumpy Soup or Good Show TM social media, Instagram. It's either Bumpy Soup or Bumpy Soups everywhere.
Yeah. You're also gonna hit me up personally. It's just Father Ivory, IVRY, and then we can find its way into the podcast that way too. But I think I have access to my account immediately, so I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
He's legally obligated. It's in the waiver he signed.
Yeah, it's part of my contract for this podcast.
Part of the waiver that Emily signed for Vape earlier today.
Perfect. Oh, you got a couple. Whatever one's on top.
Okay.
Perfect. Cool. And we got very exciting. It looks like it's time for 60 seconds of soccer.
Oh, damn, they're hidden. That was good.
Set up.
Did you expect it at all?
I did not.
Yes.
I did not. That was really good.
Jesus.
Very fun. I'm so excited for 60 seconds of soccer.
Hey, Google, set timer for 60 seconds.
Setting a timer for 60 seconds.
Okay, welcome to Supreme 60 Seconds of Soccer. Let's go. Firstly, Real Salt Lake changed the name of your stadium. Okay, now on to actual soccer. RSL dropped their new kit for this season, and it is sick. It's kind of a throwback to the Victory Gold third kit that RSL had in 2010 and 2011, but it actually looks good this time. Finally, Adidas has given RSL an away kit that isn't just white on white. I'm really, really pumped on this kit. On to other MLS news. MLS has signed a new 7-year deal with Adidas to remain the official kit sponsor of MLS. Why? Why did this happen, MLS? Why? That Adidas has completely dropped the ball over the last 5 years on making kits. They don't care anymore once they get this contract, and we know this. Every single team official has come out and anyways, they hate this. You want to know why this is happening? You want to know why this evil is happening? Don Garber, who is, you guessed it, a bald man. That's right. So now it's time for my new campaign, No More Bald MLS Commissioners. Get him out of there. No more baldies in this sport. We don't like their bald heads. All right, on to Europe. Stop. Well, it's all right. I got the anti-bald propaganda in there. So
Yeah,
it's okay.
all the important stuff made it in.
Yeah.
Okay, so last week, last time I was on, Morgan got 3 points for predicting a 2-0 Fulham win.
Oh, wow.
Patrick, Maddie, and I all got 1 point for predicting a Fulham win, but he got it right.
Who's the top point holder?
Yeah, what's the scores right now?
So as of right now...
It's still Max, right?
It has to be.
I assume so, but let me make
That'd be pretty fucking embarrassing if not.
Any update on the Gay Michael stuff?
There has not been a Gay Michael that I've been told about yet.
Okay.
There may be in the future.
Yeah.
So as of right now, well, let's see here. So if I update,
You get 3 points if they're openly gay and 1 if they're still in the closet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The idea of admitting to that is so funny. Yeah.
So I have 7 points. Maddie has 3 points. Emily has 3 points. Morgan has 3 points. Alec has 2.
Morgan
Patrick
comes
has
on
2.
the podcast one time.
Yeah. Shane has 2.
Nice.
Brad has 1. Yeah. So
Wow.
you and Shane, who gets 10-10 every single time, have the same number of points right now. So,
Well, if I guessed for Fulham, then I'd be fine. But I'm going for the big win.
that's right, because Fulham is the best club in the world.
It sounds like it.
Predictions.
Yeah. Predictions. Let's get it.
Predictions.
Pretty
Let's do
full
it.
of
So
Who's playing?
So we got Fulham versus Wolves coming up. Alec,
Ooh.
Wolverhampton Wanderers is their full name.
Wolverhampton
That sounds
Wanderers.
made up.
Wait a minute. That changes things.
Yeah. I have no joke. I'm just gonna say 3-1.
Nice.
To Wolves.
Yeah.
Okay. Emily?
I'm gonna go Wolves 2, Fulham 1.
Wow.
All right, Shane?
So really quick, I thought when you said the Wolves, obviously their first thought is, oh. right? But you said it's the wanderers, so it implies a sense of like misdirection or like maybe being lost. So it'd be like, oh,
No, it'd be whining.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I'm going 10-10. Fun, baby, fun.
Lots of fun. All right.
Fun.
I'll relay that to them, see if they can get some fun up in here this time. Patrick?
2-2 draw.
Nice.
2-2 draw. Okay, and I am going to say a 3-1 full. Or you said 3-1. I'm going to say a 3-0 Fulham win.
Nice. I found a joke. Not all who wander have lost.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah.
Not all who wander are wolves. Not all who are waking up are with
yeah,
wolves.
David,
Thank
those
you.
are waking up with Wolverhampton. Yeah.
You know, something that's weird about soccer clubs is like Wolverhampton Wanderers, right?
Yeah.
There's also Bristol Rovers and there's Blackburn Rovers. Like Wanderers and Rovers are the only, you know how Americans have like a place and then the thing? That's not how they do it in soccer, except for these guys. And the mascots they choose are Wanderers and Rovers. I don't know why.
Yeah,
neither of those are like cool things.
So like soccer, they don't really have mascots. Then they don't have
So
actual
they'll have like a
beings.
thing, like Watford is the Bees, Fulham is the Cottagers,
Cottagers?
Cottagers.
Yeah. So okay. So Fulham,
Like a dude
Craven
that
Cottage
makes cottages.
Yeah, exactly. Cottage cheese.
Wait. So wait, you didn't.
I'm a cottager.
Fucking
It's
butter
like
churner.
it's like an aficionado for wine, but cottage cheese.
Swirling it in a
the
bowl.
curds are.
You like have a little bit and then like spit it back out. The curd is
wine.
around.
It's a pair great with a steak.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a good
This
quick.
cheese is bad.
I've got a good quick cottage cheese story. When I was a kid, I really liked cottage cheese, and one time I got sick,
Okay.
Still loves cottage cheese.
and I had to take some cough medicine, and I was like, okay, well, cough medicine tastes disgusting, so I'm going to take something else to make it good. So I took some cottage cheese, and then the cough medicine, and then it was just cottage cheesy cough medicine. Worst thing.
You didn't like it? You didn't like it?
That's like such a sick little kid thing to do too. Like,
You know what?
Yeah.
He's still on this sick shit.
All you did was make the
No, I did it with
gross
wine.
wine and cottage cheese.
Yeah, wine and cottage cheese.
Very early on, can I tell this story?
I guess so.
Very
Oh
early
my
on
God.
in mine and Alex's
Oh, God.
relationship, he was sleeping over at my apartment,
yeah.
and I had some eggnog that it was like spring at this point. I had some eggnog from the holiday
So it's
season that
old.
was definitely expired.
Yeah.
And Alec loves milk products so
And I
much.
can't read good.
He can't say no
Yeah.
to a milk product.
Okay. Yeah.
He drinks it.
Mhm.
Did I advise against it or did I not know?
I think you probably advised against it, but
And he spent the entire night puking.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
yeah, it was worth it
Poor
though.
fella. Speaking of which, we have some oat nog
Uh-huh.
Oh.
in the fridge. Do you want some?
Is it
Chug
old?
it on
Is
and
it
chug it right
old?
now.
Is it expired?
I'll only drink it if it's expired.
sorry. Is
If
it-
it's aged.
No. Nice.
You want it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right now, chug it on the
You have
podcast.
some
Come on.
We got some wine though. Come on, man. Yeah.
Got some more.
Creamy
Where's the cottage
wine.
cheese? Where's the cottage nog?
I do love the idea of like wine and cheese like is a thing, right? like a charcuterie board, just a bunch of fucking sloppy cottage cheese.
Velveeta in the wine.
That's got like very similar energy to us doing like a charcuterie board and then just like putting some cheese sticks in there,
Yeah.
like with the
Yeah.
plastic
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I fucking love cottage cheese, man. I really
Me
truly
too.
do.
good.
Yeah.
Maddie won't eat cottage cheese, and but it's not because she doesn't like it. It's because she hasn't tried it because it looks gross, and it's like
It does.
Yeah.
I
look
get
gross.
that, but
Yeah.
like
I stayed away
I'm
from
lactose
cottage cheese when
intolerant.
I was growing up. Like I thought it was gross too.
Yeah, I only found out recently that it's like good for you. I was like, I liked it so
Right.
much that I thought it must have been bad for me.
Yeah. No, man. I mean, it was like a big part of like when I was going on diets and things. Like cottage cheese was a huge part of that, which is funny because it's like kind of counterintuitive, but it helped
So
quite a
good,
bit. Yeah, yeah. I also back to your cough syrup in cottage cheese. I do think that there is like there is the right kind of fruit with cottage cheese, right? Like mandarin
Pineapple.
oranges is great. Pineapple is
We
great.
tried pineapple recently. It wasn't very good.
Oh,
The
It was a
pineapple
little
good?
lackluster. I
that's a
don't
good
know.
question.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, but like canned mandarin oranges and cottage cheese fucking rocks so hard. It's so good.
What
right?
about strawberries?
I haven't tried that.
I
I'm sure it'd
haven't
be
either.
fine.
I think the thing with both pineapple and with mandarin oranges is that they're juicy, and so it like
you have to get
overcovers.
some of the
Citrusy.
juice in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
yeah, the tang. Right?
Yeah.
We didn't mix the tang in there.
So the idea
With
of doing like a cherry flavored cough syrup
Yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like especially as a kid too, it's like, well, it's like fruit's good with cottage cheese. Why wouldn't this be? Or
Yeah.
like the idea of like I like this and I don't like this, so together they have to be medium probably.
Yeah.
But it's like putting ketchup in mac and cheese. Have you ever done that?
I've seen people do it. I used to put
the
barbecue sauce in my
damned
couch
people
and
of the
cheese.
world.
As like a 6-year-old fat kid, it made sense to me, right? I'm like, well, I love ketchup and I love mac and cheese. They got to be good together. And like, they're not.
Very bold.
They're really not.
No.
I'd watch my childhood friend and next door neighbor Katie take big bites out of sticks of butter. It still haunts me.
My sister.
She probably has kids now,
She does.
which is
Do her kids eat
terrifying.
butter?
I can DM her for the first time in like 8 years, 10
Hey,
years.
would you like to get publicly embarrassed on our podcast,
Yeah, for
please?
real.
Do you still eat butter?
Do your kids eat butter plain?
Yeah. So my sister would eat butter too. Actually, all of my sisters would eat butter. I don't know what it is. Anyway, but my mom's daughter specifically would drink ranch out of the bottle.
Utah classic.
Yeah, dude,
I
it was Wild Coyote, right? Of course.
Okay,
There we go.
Of course.
Okay.
It becomes more
That's
acceptable when you
acceptable.
get there.
Not
Yeah.
Hidden Valley.
No, oh God, no. Yeah, no, we had taste, right?
Right.
No, so and it got to be so bad that like she would get grounded because she wouldn't stop doing it.
She's got an addiction to drinking the ranch.
Yeah, dude, we're like
they have to
Holy
like
fuck.
draw like when people like draw lines on the liquor bottles to see if there's less in it. They have to like do that on the ranch.
dude, honestly though.
They have to like
yes.
pump her stomach, and it's just like this like white.
Oh God. Oh.
But so like almost to the point of alcoholism, right? Like the way that she would like drink ranch, like fuck, like I'm surprised she didn't like start hiding it around the house or like under
she
her
did.
bed.
Find
or,
a bunch
like,
of bottles in your kid's room. You think they're piss bottles? They're just ranch.
Ranch
Oh
bottles.
God.
They're
Yeah.
inside the Mr. Potato.
I don't even know if this podcast's going to be funny if you haven't heard the other ones. There's been so many references.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so she like would like sneak out in the middle of the night, like wake up in the middle of the night and like go drink ranch. And there was one night specifically where I remember it happening and I was awake too. And
You saw the deed.
no, I didn't see it happen, but I just hear like the fridge open, a little like kind of glass clank, right? And then my mom just like screaming.
Put the ranch down.
Yeah, man.
It's like cops surrounding. Put the ranch down.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
When I was in treatment after, like when I was in the house afterwards, there was this guy that I lived there with who he was from somewhere Polynesia. I don't know if it was Hawaii or he said Micronesia as a joke. I know he's not from Micronesia, but somewhere else over there.
Yeah.
Is that like Polynesia, but just like really small?
Yeah. Well.
Well, no.
there's a part of.
Yeah.
Right, I know.
Micro-
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that is what it is. But anyways,
Monogonesia, I guess then, right?
yeah, one big island. It's just a continent.
One big lonely island.
Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
Anyways, but so one day I was talking about okay, I remember what it was. He put way too much ranch or mayo on his sandwich,
Oh,
and I was
yeah.
like, "Dude, that's way too much mayonnaise." He's like, "What are you talking about?" Takes the mayonnaise. This is a squeezable bottle of mayonnaise.
Oh.
Right in his mouth, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, this is just normal." Apparently, like I think it was Hawaii, but like that's just a thing. It's like what's some condiment that tastes good that we have, like Nutella or something like that? Yeah, ranch.
Well, I mean, like I think that their palate has been drastically updated. Like, because I know that Spam is like part of
Right.
legitimate like cuisine.
Well, and it's what you're raised around, right? I mean, the only reason why certain things taste great to us is because we were introduced to them, at times when we were introduced to them.
Yeah. So, Shane, you're in the holiday spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a Christmas story for you.
Wonderful.
Um,
Is
my
it about
child-
ranch?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I'll get it out
You
of
know
my
At
head.
some
I
point,
think-
someone drinks
I
ranch.
think
That doesn't matter.
Ranch is part of the ingredients of this story.
Okay,
I think.
Thank God.
So my brother and I would watch like neighbor gifts like around the holidays happen. When you live in a Mormon ward in Utah Valley, they
Right.
do
Northern
neighbor
Utah.
gifts.
Yeah,
you like
yeah.
kind of you like doorbell ditch. It's
Right.
like Secret Santa.
Yeah.
You doorbell ditch gifts. And so me and my brother Christopher wanted to do that, but like make it a prank. And so we made this concoction in a blender
Oh my
called
God.
we called it Yummy Eggnog.
Nope.
I was a marketing girly since day one.
No kidding. Holy
Oh.
And like imagine like ranch, peanut butter, a little soy sauce, like maybe some candy canes like
Yeah.
ground up in there. It was like an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Nightmare, and we gave it to our backdoor neighbors, and yummy eggnog. Oh, and we did pour like the rest of it down the sink, and our kitchen smelled like that for like weeks. We couldn't get the smell away.
Yeah.
I still remember the
Karen
smell.
loved that.
Yeah. The Lord gives, the
Karen
Lord
loved
takes
it.
away.
Shane, something that you reminded me of with your ranch in the middle of the night story.
Yeah.
Max and I were at this party one time, and Max was telling me this story about how Alec used to have this thing when he was younger about when he would get like really drunk, he would like eat some tortillas out of the bag and like sit under the table.
Yeah. What?
Tortilla drunk.
Tortilla drunk.
Yeah, tortilla drunk. And Max was telling me this, and he's like, it's
You
so
were
weird. I don't
younger?
understand
How
it. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And Max gets fucking really drunk at this party. And we go to sleep. We're both sleeping in the living room. And then in the middle of the night, I hear Max get up. And he goes into the kitchen and he gets some like this bag of bread and he goes and lays down under the kitchen table and starts eating the bread out of the bag.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. It's this genetic thing in the Wilbanks.
Or maybe
You gotta
Max was
sober up,
asking for
man.
some validation from you before he got drunk at this party. Like, is
Yeah.
it acceptable
Just so you
socially to
know.
go under the table?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it like
so-
a grounding feeling, maybe?
No. Well, you want me to explain it?
I was black out. I have no recollection.
I think
of
that's a
this.
yes, Alec.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, basically what it is that when you get drunk, like, and what I've heard, and maybe I'm just completely wrong, but if you eat bread, it'll absorb the alcohol. You'll like get less drunk. And drinking water is kind of the same thing.
Right, yeah.
But I was at this party up in Wyoming, and I took a bunch of Jello shots, and they didn't have any bread, and all they had was tortillas. And so there's
I
a
gotta
picture.
sober up, man.
Yeah, there's a picture of me laying next to a toilet with like a tortilla with a bite out of it.
What about the table
That's an
thing?
album cover.
Like, what's the
That's
table
a Max
thing?
original.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
It's a sense of shame tied, maybe. It's like shelter.
You're returning to your primordial roots and like
Yeah.
go into your
Return to
cave.
caveman.
I need cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max was also just really, really drunk. It was also a pretty crazy party. This dude Tav, who I think you guys all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Southwest Rambo.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah, Southwest Rambo, shout out. He destroyed his TV. He was insanely drunk. And everyone was just like, no, don't do that. And then all the roommates came out and they're like, oh, we're getting rid of it tomorrow anyway. We're getting a new TV. But Tav just started like punching his TV, just breaking it. It was hilarious.
I also peed on the couch at that party.
Oh my
So-
God.
I wasn't going to tell that part, but yeah, he did also do that.
Well, on the topic of PP at parties, do you want to share the story of how you met Patrick for the first time?
Yeah, I think now's a good time for that.
Yeah, I think, Patrick, you're going to tell this because better than I will.
Sure. So
If you would like to hear the story of Alec and Patrick meeting for the first time, head on over to our Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you can gain access to our library of deleted scenes, exclusive content, BTS photos, and our Watch of the Week club. Thank you.
Okay, so I've talked about Bunheim before to you guys. Bunheim, anyone who
Yes.
doesn't know, Bunheim, he's this guy on Reddit. He is the moderator of r/Vols. He has the top post on r/hotdog of all time. He's just a great guy.
Right.
And he just makes like some of the best posts of all time. So
Is he like Reddit's equivalent of like drill on Twitter.
Kind of, except for not like he's just a character who kind of just exists, and he's like,
well, he's searching for a job right now. I saw it.
Yeah. So
he might be. He's kind of real,
he's a real guy for sure. He's definitely a real guy. He's this old dude who he was a trucker, at least was. Anyway, so he just makes some really good posts. So I'd just like to share some of them.
Yeah.
This is 2 days ago, and this is 2 different tweets. He goes, I am not dead. Do not listen to the garbage bullshit internet lies put out by troll users on my r/vols forum, which only I fucking own. I am alive. February 21st, 12:12 p.m. This is Bunyan Butler, known by Reddit scream name Bunhine. I am not fucking dead. Every fucking day I wish I would have sold that fucking place. You've got to be fucking shitting me. Even direct messaging and WhatsApping me. And then he says, I did not fucking die under a damn fucking donut shop. Why in the F would you think I would crawl under a fucking donut shop to suffocate myself and die? You're seriously retarded if you believe that.
I did not die under a donut shop. I did not.
Yeah.
So hi, Mark. Another really good one from him recently. So someone posted, what's something that you can say during sex and at Olive Garden? And his response is, love to suck on that wet damn noodle. Oh, dude, I love Bunhine. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
I want Bunhine, if you see this
I hope
somehow,
you get a
please
job.
be a guest on this show.
Good luck on your job search.
Yeah, we love you. I am your biggest fan. I follow. There's also a Twitter account that is Daily Bunhine that posts some of his best stuff daily. So if you're interested, go give that a follow.
Yeah, we'll bring the bun on.
Okay, but on the Olive Garden question, the top comment had to be, when we're here, we're family.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah. It has to be. Yeah.
So I was at Olive Garden years ago, and I overheard a conversation in the booth behind me, and it sounded like a first date. It's like these middle-aged folks.
Okay.
And she was asking him some questions about his life, and she asked him, so were you divorced when you got your first tractor? And it's never left my brain. I think about that probably on a weekly basis.
Have I talked about the FarmersOnly.com story?
No.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right. So Patrick, this is related to that very hard, just obviously.
I can only imagine.
So Patrick's girlfriend and I are really good friends, and we share, our birthdays are a couple days apart.
Cool. Yeah.
So we always do a birthday party together. So one year we decided to rent a cabin out in Colorado City, which for anyone who doesn't know, that's where the FLDS church was, where all the polygamists are. So anyways, we go out there and we rent this place, and it's kind of cool, and it's on this farm, this old farm that used to be a farm. It's not anymore because Warren Jeffs, the FLDS guy, took all the animals there and sold them and then bought a private jet with that money. Anyway, so while we're there, though, there are some animals, and so some of the people in town come and they're feeding their animals and stuff. So randomly, I just get into a conversation with this lady who's coming over here and feeding her rabbits. And so she's telling me she's not from Utah. She's actually from Wisconsin, but she was on FarmersOnly.com and met this guy who's from Colorado City. So she came down to meet this guy and hang out with him. And while she was down here, she found out that this guy was one of the guys who was working with the FBI to take down Warren Jeffs, who's right now in jail, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And so she comes down here and is like, what? And while she's down here, the FBI decide to move in.
Yeah.
And so she was telling me the story about how she was in the school. She was like they were having her help. So she went into the school just to make sure the kids were okay while they were doing the takedown. And girls were pulling out knives on her and stuff like that for trying to make them not go and save Warren Jeffs, from being
right.
Anyways, she met her husband on FarmersOnly.com.
Nice.
Wow, he really committed to the bit. Yeah.
That's insane.
It's the FLDS church is just a bit. You think about that?
Yeah. The funny LDS church.
Fuck yeah! Dude, is that the first time that joke's ever been made? I've never heard that. That's incredible.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Hang on. So was he an FBI plant, or was he?
No, so he's a guy.
He was a guy.
So I don't know if you know how FLDS polygamists work, but it's when you hear how it goes, it seems pretty easily that it seems not far off that there are some guys who were there who would think what's happening was going down is wrong. Because essentially in the FLDS cult, I don't know if we want to get too into this, but all of the kids who are born there are born by Warren Jeffs. and his like 2 advisors. So this guy was not the father of his own
You
kids.
only get multiple wives if you're like of a high
Well, no,
status.
you get multiple wives, but you don't have any kids, right? Your kids are someone else, are Warren Jeff's kids. So anyways, there's a lot of stuff there. But so he was a guy who was in the church and decided that it was wrong and decided to go to the FBI along with, I think there were 3 guys who went and did that.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, crazy stuff.
Speaking of Colorado City, I remember hearing this story one time. Like, they have a lot of children there, but I think it's like in order to disguise how many people, like the kids stay inside during the day, and so I can't remember who.
No, this was part of this story. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so
You wanna tell
she
it?
was telling me that if you go around any of the places that are still FLDS, they have double fences. So it's a fence, and then they build that same fence on top of that one, so it's double, so that no one can see in because whatever. And they don't let the children go outside until it's dark outside. So they say the children only come out at night. That's what she said to me. So we're standing there, and it's like 8:30. We're walking around. There's no sounds. It's fine. Across the street from where we are is a couple FLDS houses. 9 o'clock hits. Children outside running around making noise.
9 o'clock hits, you hear,
Yeah.
The funny LDS church.
oh my God.
Now it's the freaky LDS church.
It's after dark.
FLDS after dark.
Yeah, now we can swear.
oh my God.
It's a ghost tour, but of just FLDS houses with kids.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
There's got to be a Children of the Corn joke to make, but I can't figure out
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
is. I don't know. Yeah.
If anyone is watching these episodes sequentially, in the episode with Jake, you'll hear that he is performing at the Colorado City Music Festival, and you might get some confusion here. Yes, that is the same place where all the polygamists live.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Well, there's a bunch of people that left and then came back, reformed or whatever, and no longer practicing, that like still love the place where they grew up, but like want to make it safer and better for people. And so like part of that apparently is live rock music.
Yeah, the Colorado music festival.
Yeah, which is sick.
At the high school we went to, the accompanist for like the music program, musical theater program, she escaped from FLDS church. She was a sister wife there and escaped with her kids from there. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Interesting.
Oh. If you have any Children of the Corn FLDS jokes, go ahead and throw them down in the comments.
Yeah, I'd love to hear them. There's got to be something.
Yeah, if we get literally one, we will read it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you made it this far, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. My experience with the FLDS is strictly related to manual labor, framing,
Yeah.
and
Costco.
and for sure Costco, definitely, yeah, and like tile installers, and I worked with a lot of Lost Boys, and it is really funny to like. It's cool to see someone like kind of be freed, sort of, right, and then try to adjust, but somehow adjust, but like 10 years too late.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the couple guys that I knew is like they were like cool dudes, they're really nice guys, funny guys, obviously had a really tough life and like came out better people, which is cool, but for some reason we're like stuck in 2007 or something.
Dress sense wise, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Colorado City is kind of like Utah's Canada in a way. Like they're just behind the times there, you know.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Colorado City is like Utah's Utah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so
like Utah's Utah. Yeah.
So I
How I
had
Met
a
Your Mother. Sorry, hold on. How I Met Your Mother has a joke that Canada is 10 years behind all of us.
I had a
That-
professor at the university nearby that said Utah is 20 years behind the rest of the United States. St. George is 50 years behind the rest of the United States, and Colorado City is probably like 100,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, have you guys seen color TV?
That's
You can have a toilet
crazy.
inside of your house. Did you hear about the Spanish flu? Yeah, these jazz cats are swinging, man.
Yeah.
Trying to think, the Great Depression, what happened 100 years ago.
You guys, racism's over. Max, I don't.
They
think
got
you-
cars now, automobiles.
I don't think that you should base your humor off of How I Met Your Mother jokes.
All right, you know what? I'll take a stand for How I Met Your Mother here. It was good when I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
All right?
How old are you now?
Well, that
Older than the 8th grade.
What grade are you currently in?
Yeah. Yeah, what's the math on that?
I'm a junior in college.
19th grade, I guess.
So, plus, I'm 15th grade.
Okay.
I was way off. So sorry.
How I Met Your Mother is good. If you can get away from like the kind of like misogyny that like Barney has going on for him, and the laugh tracks,
And the transphobia.
Yeah, there is a good. Well, I mean, I think
And
that
the bad jokes.
Okay, well,
And the dated writing.
Hold
And
on.
the,
It's a
stealing a
network
bunch of
TV
jokes
show.
from Friends too.
Well, okay, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna give Friends any more credit than I'm gonna give How I Met Your Mother. If I'm talking shit on how, or if I'm, yeah, anyway, okay, this is all I'm saying. How I Met Your Mother is a network TV show. For the time, it was pretty funny. Like, they do a couple of things there with, like, the ongoing storylines, like the legend, Derry, where, like, it's kind of cringy now, but they are, like, that was one thing that I loved, is this consistently throughout the whole thing, you have these jokes that'll go on, and, like, I don't know, and I guess it's kind of like a catchphrase in a way, but I don't know. I thought that was really good in high school. I don't know if I would now, but the last time I watched it, there was some merit to the jokes. The slap joke, that was what I watched. Me and Maddie watched that. There's this joke ongoing through it that, like, they make a slap bet, and one of them wins it, that they can just slap the other one as hard as they can at any time. And that's really funny. Throughout the whole show, sometimes he'll walk in and he'll just get scared because of that. Like,
You know, something that I that has stuck with me from watching that is the like private or general
Yeah.
like
a general
what is
knowledge.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does have one of the secret Jasons, Jason Segel, who is
Oh,
great.
yeah. That's
Jason
true.
Segel is good.
He's Utah's Jason.
Is he from Utah?
No, but his last name's Siegel.
Oh, nice.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah.
He's the Utah of Jasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need to get into this too much, but Utah's bird is the California seagull.
Oh my god.
I think it was just like foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
they're all
really,
really
it's like the prophecy is being fulfilled right
Yeah.
now. That's really what it's
Yeah.
about. Fucking
Oh,
Illuminati
yeah.
shit.
Hey, welcome back to That Bumper. Shane has left because he's too weak to stick around for the watch of the week.
He has commitments,
The
and
wa-
that's okay.
This is the watch of the strong now.
He's about a day, and we're on weeks.
Yeah. So we're going to get into it. The watch of the week this week is The Office, Season 4, Episode 12, The Deposition.
Patrick recommended this episode.
Yeah,
did.
and, like, it's like this is for sure got to be the saddest episode of the entire series,
Oh,
right?
it's pretty heart-wrenching.
I don't know. I guess it kind of is. I feel like Michael takes it all really well. I feel like he leaves the whole thing in a relatively good mood, considering.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's no other episode that makes me feel this like sad and like makes really humanizes Michael and all of a sudden puts like this is like there's parts of this episode that are not funny and they're not meant to be funny. It's only meant to be sad.
Well, there's other episodes where like people are talking about Michael and he like overhears it that I feel are worse than this. I can't think of what ones, but I know that those are there.
I know what you're saying. I just feel like firstly getting told that your girlfriend is willing to like go through your diary and spread that out to everyone just so that she can win this thing without telling you. And then once that happens, then you have the other side, which is your boss saying that.
You know what? Guess what? None of that would have happened if he had not shared that photo.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
very
Think
true.
about it.
That's fair. But I mean, so if that hadn't happened in this scenario, they would have had no like pushback on anything, right? It would have just been Jan lost for sure, right?
Let's give a quick like background
Yeah.
on like
Yeah.
what this
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
is. So basically, Jan and Michael are dating at this point, and Jan is going through a legal battle with Dunder Mifflin because she was fired, correct? For
having boobs.
Yeah, for a pattern of
Well.
inappropriate behavior is what they say. And Michael is there as a witness during the deposition, and basically he kind of is put into a position of
Being loyal to his girlfriend or his company.
yeah, and then at the same time, there's also the B story of
Pam pressuring
Jim into beating Daryl at ping pong because she is being heckled by
Kelly.
bullied by Kelly.
She's being bullied by Kelly.
Yeah, I'd like to start this off. Just firstly, I think this is a really noticeable thing that we all would have noticed. What a fucking terrible streaming service Peacock is. Oh my God, it is insane trying to use that thing just for normal stuff. The people who have made Peacock are horrendous at making an app. I watch the Premier League on there all the time, so I have a lot of experience.
I thought you
with
watched
this.
it on Paramount Plus.
No, Paramount Plus is for the Champions
That's Champions.
League. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Peacock is the Premier League. And it just is, okay, I will give them props. One thing is they'll let you do picture-in-picture. You can move off the app and still have it there, but it is so difficult to use. I hate Peacock. Yeah. Also, now they've made this new thing where if you pause an episode, they just put an ad on your TV now, and you can't do anything about that.
Oh, yeah, they have like a bunch of ads. So,
Ooh, the ads are really weird.
Yeah.
You have 2 tiers, and the first tier you get access to it, but you still get ads. You're paying and you still get ads. You have to pay for a second tier in order to not get ads.
That's really shit.
I hate Peacock. I hate Peacock. Jack Donaghy, he's gotten fired from NBC now. He would not see this through. It's a little 30 Rock joke.
I do love the idea though that someone like leaves their screen up with the word Peacock on it, and then that's just like, like burned into their TV.
Peacock.
That's funny to me. Well, let's like kind of walk through this.
So the opening with the hiya buddy joke.
Yeah. So the opening.
Yeah.
Really good.
I really do like the whole concept. Oh, so this is the first time I've watched an Office episode in years, I think. I went through like a big season of my life where I watched it a lot, and I haven't watched another episode in a long, long, long time until last night. So it's interesting to get certain reminders of like different character dynamics. I love that like Michael does these kinds of things to like not save face but like build face
Make him
for
look
his
cool,
like
yeah.
Make him look
feel
cool
important.
and feel
And
important.
also,
yeah.
everyone else knows it's fake, right? Like Kevin, who's like the dumbest one, calls him out immediately. There are other ones, yeah, but it's like...
Yeah.
Jan looks impressed.
Jan looks
so
impressed.
The joke is that when Michael's in a meeting, Pam comes up and says, "There's someone you have a phone call," and he says, "Tell them I'll take it another time." And then when that happens, he really enjoys it, so he just has her come in with fake notes so that he can say that. Tell him I'll call him back.
And then one time that happens when Ryan, his boss, is in the office, and he's like, "No, take your call from your client," and there's no one on the phone.
Yeah.
But
I love how he has to like pay the piper. At that point, he's like,
"Hiya, buddy."
"Hi, buddy."
Yeah, I just love the idea too that like Kevin calls him out for it, and he still does it. He doesn't care if people know. He's like, "I'm just having a fun time doing this."
Does
you know?
Kevin call him out?
Yeah, the very first time, which is confusing.
He says,
because,
"You never call them."
Yeah, you never take your calls, is what he says. Patrick, do you have something?
No, I was just gonna say what Kevin said, but you already did.
Yeah, he calls him out, but like he doesn't call him out. It doesn't feel to me like he knows. It just feels like to me like he's recognized it.
Right.
This is a pattern, and you always say no. Tell him I'll call him back.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny though that after it's pointed out, he continues to do that as if he doesn't really care. Anyways, I just thought that's just a Michael Scott type thing to do.
It is very. And that cold open, and I don't know how frequent that is in other Office episodes, but it's completely unrelated to the rest of the show or to the rest of the episode. Like it's one of those cold opens that you could just put in front of literally any episode. They might have not even filmed it for this specific episode. They might have just filmed a bunch of cold opens and then just kind of like threw them in where they wanted to.
There's a bunch like that. One of my favorite cold open probably is the hardcore parkour one, right? Where they go and they come in and they're flipping around.
Right.
Nothing to do with the rest of the episode. The rest of Patrick knows. I can never remember what episode that starts with until Patrick pointed it out one time, but has nothing to do with the rest of the episode.
Well, speaking of Patrick was the one that actually chose this episode. And
right.
Do you want to talk about why you did?
Yeah. So we knew we wanted to do an Office episode at some point, and we didn't have any guests on this episode of our podcast. And usually we let the guest have some kind of influence over what we do watch so that it's interesting for them. So we decided to do an Office episode, and I had always thought that this is like a top tier episode for me. I think it has a lot of really funny parts in it. And I feel like it often gets really overshadowed by the dinner party episode, which is right after it. Dinner party, probably maybe the most infamous Office episode. And so it kind of outshines this one a little bit, but I think this one is an extremely good episode that people just don't talk about that often.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about this very much, but the dinner party episode primarily doesn't even take place in the office, which is like weird considering, what the office is about.
Right.
I remember when the show was about community college.
Really good,
Nice.
Patrick.
Yeah.
One of the next jokes that I really liked in this is, and this is like a running joke, when Michael tries to remember things, he uses mnemonic devices. So he says, "There's a pattern of disrespect. My friend Pat took a turn."
Yeah.
And then
I noticed like all of his memorization tools start with "my friend this,"
Yeah.
this.
Right.
It like is kind of exposing his like mental landscape a little
He wants
bit.
to have friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
does-
wants to have 100 kids so he can have 100 friends and none of them can say no to being his friend.
There's another episode where he goes to one of the other branches to do a little presentation about how to do sales or something, and he does an example of like, you want to make sure you can remember people's names, and so he goes through and does more mnemonic devices like this, and like points at a bald guy and is like, "Bald," and the guy's name is Brian, so he's like, "Bald B Brian," and that's a really funny joke. I feel like
That is.
It kind of works too. Have you ever tried it in real life?
Yeah.
I never remember a bald man's name.
You build a bald man palace, and then you walk through to like find your bald men. Yeah. One thing I noticed in this is that like literally after the cold open, they're in the car driving, and Michael turns back and like just exposition dumps to the camera, and that's something that this show can get away with, which is just like pure exposition dump, and they do a good job of like making it funny enough. So it works really well, but it's kind of a
Steve Carell, the way that he delivers lines is something where like Michael can turn around and do that, and it feels nice that that's just his character. He's just going to tell the camera everything that's happening right now.
He's so excited that he gets to go like talk to people, so he's going to tell the camera that are with him. He's like, "This is what's happening. It's exciting."
Yeah, it's not like even just the format. It's the character itself lets them do that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I like when he's explaining that he's memorized all of Jan's answers. And Jan is like talking to the camera. She's like, no, he's telling the truth.
The truth
it's
is
just that the truth is a little complicated. So we're just, having him memorize it so that he can get it all straight. We're not leaving anything up to Michael's own judgment.
Yeah.
And she mentions that a couple other times throughout the episode where it's like, remember what we practiced. Remember, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
I like that. So this is the like second scene, but like this one exposes Michael's obsession with her boobs.
Which one?
Like he's like, she got fired because she got a boob job. But she's like, the twins.
Because she
And then,
bravely
like-
got a boob job.
And then like she's asking him, button down or up? And he says down. And so she buttons it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Milady, what hangs off
To be
Milady's
delicate,
chest?
they hang off Milady's chest.
Yeah.
They make milk.
Yeah.
On the B story, at this point it goes back over to the ping pong thing, and this is like one of the best lines, for sure Kelly's best line, but like one of like the most memorable lines in the whole thing, where Kelly goes, "I don't talk trash, I talk smack." Trash is hypothetical. Smack is it's happened right in front of you, and I think that's such a funny.
What is it that she says right there too?
She said,
so she's like, trash talk is all hypothetical. It's like, your mama's so fat she could eat the internet. But trash talk is happening right now. Like, you're ugly, and I know it for a fact because I have the evidence right here.
I know, dude. Like, I'm not a Mindy Kaling fan, but I love that line.
Her
so
performance
much.
right there is really, really good.
It is good.
So fucking good. There was a really good outtake too, because we watched the extended superfan cut. It's only like 5 or 6 minutes longer, and a lot of the stuff that gets cut is usually just like one line or like a couple lines in the middle of a conversation that they cut out. But it's when there's like the montage of Kelly's insults to Pam.
Yeah.
And there's 3 in the original cut, and they cut the very last one, which is in the extended edition. When she's like, "I hope Jim isn't this inaccurate in bed, or else your nightstand's gonna get pregnant."
Yeah.
That's a fucking great one.
I feel like the superfan episodes that's something that we should have mentioned, that we're watching this the superfan episodes, and they're interesting because they
Bumpy
add
soup
in,
or fan.
Anyways,
Boom.
they add in just a little bit more random information. Like one of the other ones is the fact that at one point Stanley and Phyllis are playing ping pong, right? Where that's not in the original one. It doesn't really matter, but it makes you realize, the whole office is operating throughout this episode, even if it's not shown in the full episode.
Yeah.
In Jan's car on the way to the deposition, he's like getting car sick. But is he? Because I think he just wants the top down. He's faking that he's queasy, or he's actually nervous, and he is.
Yeah. Well, he buys the panty liners for his armpits.
That's only in the Superfan episode, right? They don't have that in the OG one.
Yeah, nothing relating to the pads in his armpits.
What's the thing
original.
that he says?
Which
he's
is
like,
weird because like that's such a fucking great addition.
He says, "Made for a woman, but strong enough for a man." And then the camera zooms out.
He's like, I should have got the maxis. I know.
Yeah.
Well, like the camera zooms out after he says the strong enough for a man, and he looks back at the cashier, and she's just like,
yeah,
smiling uncomfortably.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting they took that joke out because I don't feel like it's too far at all, and I feel like it's pretty funny. So, and they also reference it later in the episode.
They take out the reference to it as well. I'm pretty sure.
It's just interesting that they.
I can see why, if they're trying to cut a few minutes off, that they could cut that out, because it's like a couple little scenes that are kind of self-contained that they could like remove, and it cuts time down.
It doesn't.
I'm honestly not used to watching content this short form. Like when I sit down to watch something on the TV, it's like usually more like an hour. So it was kind of strange. We immediately watched the dinner party.
Yeah. It ended so fast.
And this episode does a great job of like setting the stage for the tensions that are there.
Yeah.
Right. When he's like, fuck, I can't remember what builds up to it, but he's like, "Oh, sue me." Actually, no, because she will sue me.
A funny thing about that line, I always get that line confused with in the episode of Community where the dean is directing the commercial. There's this one part where he says that, and it's right after Luis Guzman, or he says, "So sue me," and it's right after the Luis Guzman thing. And for some reason, I always sub in my head that he says the line from The Office, right, where he's like, "Oh no, don't," and it's just not. It's from this episode. Anyway, it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I think that like around that time period in American culture, suing was a bit of a bigger kind of deal, and
the McDonald's thing had just happened.
Yeah, the McDonald's thing had kind of.
Well, there was also like a big campaign, I think, to shame consumers from suing companies to make it happen less.
Right. I mean, that was the McDonald's thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would make sense if that was effect of that.
And I think people do sue companies less because of that.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, actually, so in this episode, like, I don't know the full story, but it seems like Jan, the reason that she got fired was because of sexual harassment. Is that the case, Patrick?
No, it's because she...
No.
Go ahead.
She had kind of just like, from what I remember, she had kind of just gave up at her job a little bit. So I can't remember exactly if it's related to anything.
She went
I know that there's like a scene where she gets caught like smoking in her office because she is just far past the point of giving a fuck about her job.
I remember there's a line that the big boss guy, what's his name?
David Wallace.
Yeah, he's like telling her why she's getting fired, and he's like, "You online shop at work?"
Right. Yeah. You take random 2-hour trips in the middle of the day to go see your sister, just kind of she just gave up at her job. She just didn't care anymore.
Okay. Well, knowing that context, I got the feeling with this though that there was like, I don't know, like you had talked about how Michael Schur had done The Office and Parks and Rec and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and feels like a bit of a capitalist plant to make these places feel more
pro-establishment.
Yeah. And this felt like almost like that kind of, in that same sort of anti-suing, like anti-women suing for sexual harassment by saying like, no, actually they're just faking it the whole time. They're actually like, they're just like online shopping and getting away with whatever, but they're going to do this to like try and pretend like, they're going to use sexual harassment because it's such an easy thing that everyone's going to obviously believe, rather than like, actually it could be.
Whether or not they intended to do that point got across.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think media really matters, even if it's a comedy like The Office. Like, sure. I do think that influences people's decisions to make a big deal out of things or rock the boat when they've been wronged. Yeah.
I've been actually mentioning this a couple times since we watched that 70s show, but like when you have characters like Fez able to make, and like it's not great that they made him this character, but the fact is like when you have guys who are acting the way that they do and they're characterized as being cool guys on a TV show that everyone watches, guys who want to be cool are going to start acting like that, right? And like especially when we talked about like the night switch thing and stuff that they joke about in that episode, like that's normalized for people, right? It's the same type of thing.
That probably gave some people some ideas.
No, exactly. It definitely did. Because you go, oh, this is what normal people do, right? It's just, anyways, it's not. So you're right for sure. Like representations in media is how, especially people with Asperger's, decide what's normal and not. You know, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot how much Michael hates Toby.
Oh my,
Yeah.
that
Which
scene.
was delightful
Yeah.
to remember.
That scene is
Yeah.
so funny. He walks into the lunch
No.
thing. So
No.
sad. Well, he walks into the lunchroom and he's
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
sad because all this stuff just happened in the deposition.
His diary just came out.
Yeah. Goes and sits next to Toby as like that's his only friend he can have. And Toby tries to connect with him and he's like, when my parents were divorced, I had to go into a courtroom and do this stuff too. And Michael just pushes his lunch off the table.
That's one of those scenes that has stuck with me forever. Like I think about that from time
Yeah,
to
I
time.
giggled
So
my
good.
ass off
But
when
it's
that
so
happened.
funny.
And I
Why
love
does he
like
hate Toby
Michael's
so much?
go-to. Sorry, go ahead.
Why does he hate Toby so much? I can't remember.
Because Toby is the HR guy, and so whenever Michael tries to do something fun, Toby is the one that has to be like, "We can't do that, Michael." So he's like a buzzkill for Michael.
And
But one of the things that I love is Michael's go-to thing whenever he wants to like irritate Toby is bringing up his divorce.
Yeah.
And so like when they come in,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, are you like renewing your divorce proceedings before the deposition?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gets him good in some episodes of those divorce knocks too. He's mean sometimes.
Yeah, he's really fucking mean to Toby.
I like the moment where he cracks up after the Ryan stuff is said at
Yeah.
the table.
Oh, that
He's
felt
like,
really satisfying to see Toby like laugh at him.
Yeah.
Another thing,
And when they're reading his diary and the guy's like, "All right, let's make 10 copies," and Toby's like, 11,
11.
please. Like, I have to read this.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, the diary entry from Michael that they read out loud, I think is also hilarious.
XOXO.
Tan everywhere, Jan everywhere, he, oh diary, what a week. And like XOXO, like he's
Yeah.
writing it like a
They call
13-year-old
it,
girl.
yeah, and they call it his journal, and he calls it his diary.
Yeah.
He calls
Yeah.
it diary. Yeah.
I think that's actually such a good like writing of what Michael would write following that situation.
Perfect. It's so good.
Yeah.
and another one just from that is where he goes, "It made me feel eerie," and he goes, "Irie."
What's the joke there?
So he wrote Erie, but Michael thinks it's like Lake Erie, like because Erie is spelled ERIE and Erie is EERIE.
Right. So, but what I mean is that like, did Michael write the word Erie, meaning
So
the word
I
Erie,
was
but
thinking
he's been
about-
pronouncing it the word Irie because of the Lake Erie?
So I was thinking about this. This is a really good joke. So Michael wrote it correctly because he's seen it correctly. He isn't referencing the Lake Erie. He's just seen it correctly. However, he's only heard the word Erie beforehand. He hasn't heard the word Erie, so he just applies it to that, thinking that that's correct. He does like because they don't. Yeah, because he doesn't.
Where is Michael from?
Scranton.
Okay.
Scranton, yeah.
Okay, so he's not from Michigan.
No, yeah. Anyways, I thought that joke was really funny because it's just showing like he doesn't know that he's making a mistake and he doesn't know like there's like a double joke there.
Yeah.
Yes. I love when that happens.
Another joke that I had written down was again when they're back at doing the ping pong thing, and Jim is playing against Andy, and Andy's all hyping himself up, and he's talking about how he used to play on boats, and he's like, "I'm a monster snorkeler."
Yes, I have that written down
Yeah.
too.
I thought that was so good.
Just how his expression is too. I'm instantly in my head putting like goggles and a snorkel thing on his
Yeah.
face, and just he's got a great face to put like a snorkel gear on.
They do such a
Yeah.
good job with that, with showing Andy's character, like in a brief scene. And actually, what they do a really good job of in this episode is show a bunch of these other Office side characters by having them come be players for Jim.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So you get
Creed.
You get Creed doing the Cambodia thing. You get Dwight with his whole like table tennis thing, which is like perfect. Like that.
Yeah.
When they figured that out,
Yeah.
they were like, well, of course he's into table tennis. And then
And he's always wearing all tan, which I appreciate. He
Mustard.
was
Mustard.
he
Or
was
mustard.
like
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's a monochrome girly before anyone else.
And then, even like Kevin, when he comes in, he's like, oh, awesome. Like
Yeah.
that's already
Yeah.
a great like character, little small thing. I think like Stanley and Phyllis have a little thing where like Stanley kicks the ball back, but it's not quite as good,
and-
but it's just a way to get him in there.
A lot of this stuff that you're talking about, a lot of that was only in the Superfan episode, right? So the Stanley and Phyllis thing, the line that I just read up for that, what's his name, says, Andy says,
Andy.
that's not in the original. That's only in the Superfan one. Yeah, and so like watching the Superfan, there's some scenes that you can see and it's like, okay, that didn't hit. There's some of them that are super good, but it definitely brings more to the episode, I'd say, for sure.
Yeah, and it makes sense that they would use, they would have times like this where they saw the opportunity to show a bunch of these character things, and then when they're cutting it down, they need to lose 5-6 minutes. They're like, well, this really isn't that important to the actual content.
Right.
Something else I was thinking about this with the ping pong thing is that this really... So after the third season, the writers changed and they decided to move The Office into being way more about corporate than about, and like that was like part of the thing that they made a change for. And I think that this episode is interesting because you kind of get a 50-50 where you get one half of it, which is the A story, which is very, very corporate and about that. But the B story is like essential second season of The Office, where it's Jim coming up with a game and then them playing it, and it's like, oh, it's The Office, but they're playing a game, and that's the whole point of the first 2 seasons. And it's kind of nice just to see that again. It's like, oh, it's like the simple version of The Office that they had before the characters were built out with 5 seasons of context.
I think it makes sense that they would expand into the corporate aspect of it. Just like, you kind of probably run out of little things.
It's bigger, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what's next. The most dramatic is going up.
It gives you
the scale.
this kind of antagonist, to the whole show.
So this is another line that was cut out of the original episode, but in the Superfan episode during the deposition, Michael's like, "Can I make some opening statements?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he walks up there and he goes, "Well, at my age, I'm glad to be anywhere." And he's like 45. And then after that joke doesn't hit, then he goes, "Well, I'm only 45, so I guess that joke didn't really hit." That's
doesn't
so
really play.
funny.
I love the end of it where he goes, "Thank you for."
Yes. So uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I can't really believe that they took that out of the original episode. That whole scene is so good, and it's so Michael too. That I'm gonna make opening remarks in a court case that I'm a witness in.
Does he say I have a great sense of humor too?
He says something.
Yeah.
He says, "Let's all have good sense of humors about this." Yeah, and he's like trying to like bring up the morale of the courtroom.
Yeah.
So for the deposition, I do want to like kind of dive into the pieces of evidence and the waterfall that kind of happens because of the evidence that's brought.
Yeah.
And like I do have this question, I want to work it through with all of you. Like if the topless photo of Jan hadn't been shared, would there be a necessity for anything else to be shared? Like would any
because you see them try to end it at a certain point, I think, where I think one of the people is like, okay, that's all our questions, and then the other side is like, oh, and then they bring up something else because like they kind of had to. And Jan even says to him at one point that she only brought it up because they had to, because of the topless photo. But Michael also points out, is like, well, you had it with you ready anyway. So it's, I don't know. I think it's kind of up in the air, but I do think that they probably wouldn't have brought out the journal if the Jamaica picture hadn't come forward.
So yeah, because the picture is what says that they were together before they signed the paper, right? And so that's why the reason the diaries needed to come out.
Yeah, they probably brought it as like backup, knowing that like if this picture did get brought out, then it would be.
It was like their plan D.
Yeah, and quite frankly, like Michael did a very bad thing in sharing that photo with a lot of different people, and obviously.
Well, to his credit, he doesn't mean to share it with everybody. Yeah. He means to share it with one guy that he doesn't even really work with. Yeah, he means to share it with a close personal buddy and ends up sending it to the warehouse, and then they share it with everybody else.
Right, yeah.
And what does he say? He's like, "Oh, how the mighty have fallen into my arms."
Into my arms.
Yeah.
Which is another part that got cut, which I also can't believe because that's so funny.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Another one of the parts that they cut out that I really liked is when Jan is like, Michael is very competent at many things, like ice skating, and they leave that part in, but then she goes into the second part and
scrambled eggs.
And this is gonna sound weird, but scrambled eggs. I don't know how he does it, and then it cuts to Michael. He's like, put
Sugar.
Yeah.
That part's so good. The look on his face when he says that too, because like he plays it. Steve Carell's a really good actor. He plays it so well, as if not only was he responding to this. What happened is that the camera people just got told this. They go and tell him.
They ask
he's
him
happy
about
to
it.
know that, and he plays it so perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of this is kind of showing a light that, like, when you're cutting down an episode, the jokes, regardless of how good they are, kind of have to get cut in place of the story. The story has to come first, no matter what. Because if the story's not there, like, you can have a bunch of good jokes, but you don't have a good show unless you have like a really solid through line.
Right.
Well, and I think in this episode especially, because I think in general that's not necessarily the case when I watch the Superfan episodes. A lot of the times I think they do cut some of the weaker jokes.
Yeah.
But it's like what Emily said, how this is, or I think maybe Alex said it, how this is one of the more sad kind of episodes. It is kind of plot heavy. And I do think that they wanted to go for that. And so when they do want to focus on the plot so much, yeah, you're going to have to lose some kind of funny jokes on the way.
I've got a question. I'm not sure what's in the Superfan episode or not, but is the Wellbutrin, Lunesta, if it's on commercial, my baby's got it in her belly.
Oh my God.
No, that's such a good one
Yeah.
too. And
good.
also another
So
one that I don't
good.
know why they cut, because it fits so well in with the other storylines that
gosh.
they've left in that.
Yeah,
should
and
be
then
on all
like
that stuff. Yeah.
that him
Yeah.
saying that, and then the dinner party episode, and it's just yes.
That is also another really, really good line though, for sure. Especially right after she's been drinking so much water
Drinking
because she's been on all these
water.
pills.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's such a fucking good turnaround. That's so
They
good.
cut the pills part too in the original.
Yeah.
It just ends with she's been drinking a lot of water, and then that's where it cuts in the original.
I can see why they cut those things. Again, these are like small, but that's such a good joke that, like,
It's so good. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. Fuck. And they're also just so Michael as well. Like,
Yeah.
he accidentally says something and then tries to save himself and then says something way worse.
Yeah, that's such a theme in this one.
yeah. Speaking of him saying something that gets him in
It's
trouble
high stakes,
is
too.
when it's like when she worked at the company, she was on top of you. And he goes, "That's what she said."
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
She said what? And they go through this whole thing, and then the fucking the court reader, the court script scribe, like reads it back.
Yeah.
Her part in
And
that
then-
is so
He goes,
funny.
the delivery was terrible.
And
Yeah.
it's like, well, she butchered it. Terrible delivery.
I think that kind of taps into like at least a part of my psyche where I want to just say funny things sometimes, and it might not always be the right time, but
Just make a little reference really quick. Yeah.
yeah, or like your brain comes up with it and you're like, fuck, this isn't the right time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you just have to like keep it in. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Another part of this episode that I really, really love is, and I liked seeing this on TV too, because this comes in right after a commercial break, but it goes straight to the courtroom. And
Yeah.
it's the court reporter reading back a conversation, and it's just like, you realize you just contradicted yourself. Yes, I did. Yeah, you did. Answer the question first. Can I go to the bathroom? No, you just went 5 minutes ago. That wasn't to go to the bathroom. That was to get out of answering a question. You still have to answer the question first. Can I go to the bathroom? No.
God damn, Patrick.
Yeah,
I love
holy
the idea
shit.
that
So fucking good.
right before that like that whole thing had happened, and then the judge was like, "Can you read that back really quick?"
Yeah. I mean, that's such a good extension on the joke of the court scribe saying
Yes.
that, and then
Yeah.
it's just such a good thing coming back and having that whole monologue is just like
There
so well
is
done.
a relation between this and the oh my God, have you seen Brian's hat? Right, with the court scribe reading off things, right?
Yes.
I wonder I wonder if any thought process was between.
There was probably some influence.
or like after he started coming up with this, someone else probably mentioned this episode of The Office, and then
Yeah, I mean, like that's such a good sort of
a
mechanism.
courtroom setting is such an amazing place for like comedy to happen in TV
it's
shows.
so serious, right?
It's a juxtaposition of this very formal establishment place where there's a lot of rules and like tradition and robes and formality. And then it's just right. It's a perfect setting for comedy.
And then also just someone saying something hilarious in that monotone, serious voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
I mean, kind of reminding me of like what Charlie does in It's Always Sunny with like the trying to be a lawyer stuff. Is it's like a stupid character trying to be smart and use legal terms. Like when Michael pulls out the thing where he like signed saying that they were in a relationship. He's like Exhibit A, and the judge or whatever is like this is evidence 901. He's like Exhibit A 901B.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's another courtroom comedy scene that I'm thinking of. Is it called like Black Girl Comedy? It's got a title like
a Black Lady Sketch Show.
Black Lady Sketch Show. I think that's the one. But there's like a woman judge, a woman like defense attorney, and a woman like the
Bailiff?
other one.
Or
Is it a bailiff? There's a bailiff,
There's a bailiff too.
And then there's someone on the other side who's going to be fighting the defense attorney. But they all get into the courtroom and they're like looking at each other and they're like, girl, yeah. And they like all run to the center and like start celebrating because like it's the first time that's ever happened or something.
Yep.
Oh, so good.
I watched Black Lady Sketch Show like one or two episodes, and then I fell asleep and I just haven't gone back to it. But I remember it being
That's
good.
because you're racist and sexist.
No crap.
If it was just called a sketch show, you would have stayed awake.
No. Okay, so another joke that I thought was really good, and this is one line that like whenever I think about this episode, it comes to me is where Michael says like I thought of her as my girlfriend, but she didn't think of me as her boyfriend. But then that's where the original episode cuts off. But then in the extended version, he goes, and for the record, he's like, there's been a lot of girls who didn't think that they were my girlfriend, and then he references someone, I don't know who she is, but I thought that was a really good line too.
There's another part of this where he's like, she was a perfect boss. She was kind to a fault. She was mean when she had to be. It's like he could have stopped right there. But then he goes to say, she dressed exactly how every man would dream a woman boss would dress or something.
Yeah. Yep.
I know that line kind of made me think. It was like, what were the writers thinking when they made this character? Because I've never really thought about the fact that someone had to write this, but was that what they were doing? Was like, we're going to make the sexiest boss?
All the time when I hear Michael say something, I always think to myself, like, they were having so much fun, because how I would write Michael is just like, okay, what is like the worst thing you can say in this scenario? Mm-hmm. Like, what's the thing that like your compulsive thought that pops into your head that you decide not to say? And it's like, Michael's gonna say it every time.
He's like a 12-year-old, you know.
Yeah.
In that situation. There's a couple of jokes that I kind of want to go through. Or a couple little parts, I guess. So I love when they cut in and like just at the beginning, after they've gotten in the car and Jan's straightening her hair and he's telling the lawyer the joke and the lawyer knows the joke.
Yeah. I think it's a bus load. A bunch of lawyers on the bus. Okay. Yeah.
Well, just when he's like, what do you call a buttload of lawyers going off a joke? He says a good start. Like the lawyer's already heard this and is on top of him. But you know, Michael's been saying this for a long time. Also, Ryan's a fucking liar when he says that he wants to talk to Michael about something not related to the case, and then he just turns it around. It is about the case.
Ryan's the worst.
One thing I actually kind of disliked about this is that he does go there and he tries to convince Michael to stand up for the company. But Michael doesn't stand up for the company at all until the very, very end. And I kind of...
Well, it's because of David Wallace, I think.
No, he stands up for the company at the end because he says, Jan hurt me so bad. You expect to get screwed by your company. You never expect to get screwed by your girlfriend.
Think
that's such a good line, too.
Holy shit.
His demeanor changes after David Wallace walks in the room. That's when he makes his stand-up speech. And that's like...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
he does always want to look good for David. And I think he probably still would have sided with the company if David wasn't in the room. But I think it definitely does add that he goes with the company, and then he also, after the whole thing, David apologizes to him, and he's like, David, I think you're a nice guy.
Well, it's because David Wallace says
he does always have that thing of wanting David to like him.
Yeah, and in the deposition, David says multiple times, come on, Michael's a nice guy. What do you want me to say? Yeah.
Right.
But I guess what I mean is that like it was only because Jan said those mean things about him that he turned against her, where it kind of set him up to be like, like kind of going back and forth with himself because of the Ryan thing, but he never did go back and forth with himself until Jan did that. And I thought that was like a little bit of a missed opportunity for like the kind of tension.
And that could be why, but that's also something that isn't in the original cut. Ryan never shows up in the episode at all, I think, except in that cold
Despite
open.
the
Ryan
fact-
isn't in the original cut.
Despite the fact that he is just as good looking as Jan, but in a different way, and that he's a friend with benefits.
Is
The benefit is being his friend.
Michael bi?
No, they're just
up for questioning.
So the other funny thing is like Ryan takes Jan's job. That's the thing, right? They hire Ryan in Jan's job and then fire Jan, and so it's kind of funny also that Michael sees them as just as hot, but in a different way. Also, so that the another thing that's cut from the original episode is the best friend with benefits. That's
good.
It's so stupid. And then she says, "What are the like?" I kind of feel like they missed the joke on this one. She says, "Oh well, what are the benefits?" And he just says, "Getting to see him at work every day."
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a really good joke still, though.
Yeah.
A couple of minor things. The chief legal counsel for Dunder Mifflin kind of looks like Toby. Did you guys notice that, the woman?
Mm-mm.
She like has like a similar sort of
She has
mannerisms,
red hair.
or I don't know, like something about her just reminded me of Toby. The other thing related to an actor is I actually really love David Wallace's actor.
He's good.
Oh yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know. Later on though, when he gets fired by Dunder Mifflin and he's created this new product called Suck It. He's really good in that scene.
Oh my
too.
God, like the sweatpants and like the
He's-
5 o'clock shadow,
Exactly.
but like
Yeah.
I
He's
forgot
super
about
good
that.
in Avenue 5 too. I love his character in Avenue 5.
I've seen him in some. I don't know Avenue 5. I've seen him in something else.
He's
too,
in It's
though.
Always Sunny.
Oh,
He
that's
has
right.
a small role.
That's right.
His name is Andy Buckley.
Andy
Shout out Andy Buckley.
Nice.
yeah.
Jordan Buckley, Keith Buckley. Shout out all the Buckleys.
All the Buckleys.
Every time I die.
Yeah. So a kind of bigger thing that I wanted to bring up is that there's this dynamic of between the Michael Jan situation and the Jim Pam situation of like the woman in the relationship forcing the man to kind of engage with something that he doesn't necessarily want to, or is kind of like being pressured into, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that isn't. I
It's
haven't
to
thought
do
about that.
to do something for her.
For her, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
Something that just came to me. I didn't write this down. I just thought about this because you said that. Kelly and Daryl's relationship is really funny because like they're not like eventually later on like Daryl just like tricks her into dating Ryan again and then like leaves. And it's really funny that this episode happens. Like they probably had this idea and they had the idea of the ping pong thing and how it was going to work. And then they just like put it right here because they're like, oh, Daryl and Kelly are together for this limited amount of time. Anyways, I just think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I like the how Kelly and
Daryl.
Kelly and Pam, there's just a big miscommunication there. Like Kelly is seeing this as fun and like mutual, right?
Mm-hmm. And
And Pam's hating it the whole time.
the
and
scene
it's
where-
like an interesting look at like workplace relationships and
Yeah.
the scene where Pam's walking out of the bathroom and Kelly stands
Oh
in
my
the
God,
doorway.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And while Kelly isn't like always my favorite character, I think she's a really well conceived character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something that's interesting is that some of the main writers for this show are Mindy Kaling and BJ Novak, and the guy who plays Toby is another big writer for the show. And so there's a lot of interviews of Mindy Kaling talking. So like she wrote the Diversity Day episode and stuff. And it's interesting watching her talk about her character because she is like one of the least developed. It's kind of like she has one personality trait, but her scenes are always pretty good. I don't know. I feel like her being a writer and then being that type of character is kind of an interesting choice instead of being maybe either a bigger character or like a character that has a bigger storyline or something, you know? Anyways.
I saw someone say recently, I can't remember exactly who it was, but I saw someone like say recently who was a writer on The Office that Mindy actually wasn't like a very big writer. Like I think she only wrote like 2 episodes in like the whole show. And I think she's like in the writer's room, but that's only because, so like Michael, Jan, everything having to do with corporate, and Jim and Pam are all kind of spearheaded by like the main writers and like Greg Daniels and Michael Schur. And then Mindy Kaling and BJ Novak are both credited as writers because they're like technically in the room and they are given pretty much full control of their characters. They basically write their own situations. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was like with the whole new Velma show, people were talking about, they were trying to like beef up Mindy Kaling as a writer, and someone else on The Office was like, she really did not do that much.
Interesting. That makes sense because I've heard that new Velma show is bad.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dej likes it, but Dej kind of just likes anything that's Scooby-Doo related. She fucking loves Scooby-Doo.
Well, I heard that it's like barely even Scooby-Doo related.
Right. Well, I think Mindy Kaling said something about how this was an idea that she wanted to do, but she could only get it greenlit if they used
The
like an
IP?
already existing IP.
Yeah, I saw something about that too, which
I don't know enough about it. I haven't watched it at all to say anything about
they
it.
made
Me neither.
Shaggy not smoke weed. I actually have no clue. So they did something with Shaggy. I remember there's a bunch of outrage about it. The woke Shag.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've done some talking. You guys want to wrap up this episode?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Podcast name. I don't think we're gonna have any pushback about this. The Funny LDS Church.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
it
we
feels-
got to.
I want to tie it into The Office.
Yeah, I
somehow.
want to talk about like the formatting in general. I really like when our episodes are something that is tied into the watch of the week, but also tied into what we talked about. For example, last week's episode, Trailer Blart Boys, is probably one of my favorite ones we've done.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to do something kind of like that.
There was something with cottage cheese,
Funny-
maybe.
I'm trying to think of what
FLD Office.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah, we also talked about cat names or animal names.
the funny. It's gone.
No.
Nothing. A Latter Day Sure. Michael Schur.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Mm.
Well, while we're thinking, I'm just going to throw this in here. Go ahead and follow us on all our social media. Bumpy Soups on Instagram, Bumpy Soup on TikTok, Good Show TM on everything. Go ahead and follow us. If you have any dreams you'd like interpreted, either DM or comment them or DM Shane directly. We'd love to have any sort of interaction on here.
Please interact with us.
Drunk pissing in the office.
We could do FLDS, but make it an acronym for something office related.
I was gonna say like FLD, like
D for Deposition.
Latter Day Scranton.
That's good.
Oh, that's not. Yeah, that's good.
I really feel like Funny LDS needs to. I feel like funny. Well, you'd have to unacronym the whole thing.
Funny LDS Scranton branch.
Yeah, there you go. the Scranton ward.
Yeah.
Scranton First Ward.
Okay.
The
okay.
FLDS Scranton ward.
It'll be something like that. You'll see.
You'll see
It'll
what
be
it is.
good. It'll be really funny.
Yeah, it'll be so fun. We're
I
so
promise.
funny.
Yeah.
It's going to be so funny. Promise you. Hey, well, thank you so much
Thanks for watching,
or
listening.
listening or, reading if you transcribe this.
Shout out to all the deaf listeners out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big ups to the community.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks so
Okay,
much. See ya.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.